Hey y'all. So I want to first start by putting a disclaimer out there. I am not a pastor. I am not a minister. I have not been trained in any way to speak on matters spiritually. I have been given an assignment by God to do these types of videos. And so what I do is I go in, I do some research. I come from the perspective of a social worker slash mental health clinician, and then I give you insight from there. Okay. I just want to make it clear I am not trying to be your pastor, but I am hoping that through these videos, it opens up your mind, it opens up the door where you'll go to God and have some conversations. And if you need to speak to a therapist, that you'll also have the courage to do so. All right. So last time we talked about the seven deadly sins as it relates to our strongholds. So today I felt like I can, dig a little bit further into the seven deadly sins. As you may know, or you may remember, the seven deadly sins is pride, envy, anger, sloth, lust, greed, and gluttony, right? Now, just so you can understand the meaning of them, I'm going to go through them, right? But before I do, I also want to let you know that as I was doing the research for the seven deadly sins, I also saw the seven heavenly virtues. Now, these virtues are meant to kind of counteract the sin itself. And so I'm going to do the relationship between the two. Okay. So first, I want to start with envy. And envy, the best way to counteract envy is to admire someone and show kindness. So instead of inside yourself, you're like, oh, I wish I had that. She thinks she's better than she is because she has this or this or that. And, you're envious of them. You admire them like, oh my God, she did it. She looks gorgeous. She, blah, blah, blah. She was able to make it through this and that. That's wonderful. And you show kindness towards that person, right? Anger it's really a result of not having unforgiveness. So the best way to counteract that is to be forgiving and to have gratitude. So you show more gratitude and you are more forgiving. That will counteract anger. Okay, sloth, which means you're lazy. Just to narrow it down. That one you show more diligence. So you work harder, you pour more of yourself out into whatever it is, as opposed to laying around and saying, oh, woe is me. Okay. Lust, of course, we know what that is, right? But the way to combat that is through chastity or through true love. Okay. So like abstaining, right, until you find true love. That is one way to combat that. And I know that's very difficult for a lot of people because there's a lot of people that have a lustful spirit, and it's very difficult for them to kind of adhere to that. But that is the way that you would combat that kind of spirit. Okay. Greed. The best way to combat that is to be generous, show charity towards people, or it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to it has to be money. It could be your time. Okay. Gluttony, I look at it more like a kind of an addiction. It's an addiction to food and drink, but it could be an addiction to anything, to be honest. And the best way to combat that is through moderation. So, you hear a lot of people when they're on a diet and everything, they say everything in moderation, meaning don't restrict yourself. You could get a little bit here, you could get a little bit there, just be mindful, basically, is what they're saying. But the biggest one that we're going to talk about today is pride. Now, pride, the definition is it's you being basically self-centered, you're preoccupied with yourself, and everything revolves around you. Now, that's the negative side of pride. Of course, you have the other side of pride where you have worked really hard, you've done great things in your life, and you feel in pride. You're full of joy because you have experienced those things, or you were able to accomplish those things. That's a different side. I'm talking about the negative, okay, where you're overly preoccupied with self. Now, the reason why I'm going to focus on pride today is because I learned when I was looking at the seven deadly sins that pride is the foundation of all sin. Now, I didn't believe that to be true until I saw it in several different places as I was doing my research. It is the foundation of all sin. So, scripture for the day is Proverbs 16th chapter, 18th through the 19th verse, and it states, Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Better to be of a humble spirit with the lowly than to divide the spoils with the proud. Now, in that case, it's letting you know, well, basically, if you're prideful, okay, you're all about yourself. And that is the first thing. It's kind of like open the door for other sins. Now, of course, these 7 deadly sins are not the only sins that you can have by no means, but they kind of encompass a lot of different sins under these categories. And it just shows you how you can build on top. And pride seems to be the foundation. Now, since that's the foundation, I decided to go and see, like, what does foundation look like? Okay, check this out. Self-exaltation. Of course, you all know what that is because, if you're boastful, okay. So that's one. All right. Then the second one is self-promotion. That's when you want other people to praise you. You praised yourself the first time in front of everybody. Now you want them to give you credit. You want them to praise you. The third way is self-justification, where you're like, all right, Lord, see, I done did this, and that. So I'm going to need you to praise me. Okay. I'm going to need you to worship me. Like, it's supposed to be the other way around, but you want God to do that. You feel like God owe you something because you did something great. Okay. The fourth way is self-degradation. Now, in that way, you're tearing yourself down. Oh, I'm not smart. Oh, I'm not beautiful. Oh, I just, I just can't do it. Look at me. Look at me. Okay. You're still preoccupied with yourself, just in a negative way on the inside. Okay. Then the fifth one is self-demotion. And that's when you're comparing yourself to other people, kind of like with the envy, but you're doing on the inside. And you're like comparing, like, oh, such and such went and got her a degree. Oh, she looks beautiful. She lost this weight. Oh, she has this wonderful husband, this wonderful life. Look at me. I don't have anything. Look at me. This and that. Okay. All right. It's like you're comparing yourself and just finding a reason to break your own self down on the inside. Now, the last one is self-condemnation. Now, in that way, you're feeling like you're a failure. I'm a failure. I can't do anything right. Woe is me, right? And there, you are judging yourself so harshly that, like, God wouldn't even judge you that way, okay? You've literally taken the place of God in your life to judge you. But the thing is that you have to understand about all 6 of these categories, even though some are outward and some are inward, okay? The point is you are preoccupied with yourself. That is pride. Okay. So I want you to think about the ways that you may have done that. Okay. Because we all, let's be real. We've all done something like that in some way, right? In fact, with the self-condemnation, they even use suicide ideation. People have had those all the time where they're like, woe is me, life's not fair. Why do I need to be here anymore? And there's a possibility that all of these things they have done over time to get to that point. Okay. So if you're feeling that way, please go to God, talk to him. All right. Or go see a therapist, then have a therapist help you work through these things and understand that if pride is the foundation to all sin, that means that the pride, once you have some form of pride inside of you, the enemy has a way in to start messing with you. Okay. Now, the song for the day is Open My Heart. Okay. Alone in a room, it's just me and you. I feel so lost. I don't know what to do. And what if I choose the wrong thing to do? I'm so afraid of disappointing you. So I need to talk to you and ask you for your guidance, especially today when my life feels so cloudy, and guide me until I'm sure. And I open up my heart. Oh, yes. Open up your heart. Let God in. Let go of the pride. Let him fill you with all the things you need. All right, y'all. Till the next time. Blessings.